Welcome back to The Boys in the Iceberg, the podcast where we watch The Legend of Korra. As always, I'm Caleb Ader.
And I'm Harley Davis.
And first 2 episodes of Season 3 this week, Harley.
Yeah, we are, I was about to say 3/4 through this show, but we're really not. We're
like halfway.
We are on the cusp of starting the 3/4. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
We're basically halfway through.
We're about 50% through.
So far, I'm liking Season 3, in all honesty.
These were two. So I didn't think when I first saw the first episode that was a good way to start the episode until he started doing his new trick.
Who are you referring to?
Boomy.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think an opening like that was a good opening, but then it kind of just faded into a really good opening that I forgot happened. So yeah, I like these 2 episodes. This is a good way to start the season.
Okay, and with that, why don't you give us a little bit of an overview for this episode?
Yeah, I just put my computer in my pocket. Give me a second. All right. This is
A Breath of Fresh Air.
A Breath of Fresh Air.
Season 3, Episode 1.
Yeah, all right. So after the events of the harmonic convergence, Korra has her hands full with trying to remove all the spirit vines that have overgrown Republic City. Her lack of success strains her relationship with President Raiko, like that even existed to begin with. I hate Raiko so much. And brings down her approval rate among the city's populace. Why does that matter? When airbenders are suddenly popping up across the world and causing more trouble for the city, President Raiko demands Korra to leave the city, which she takes as an opportunity to travel the world to find the new airbenders. Meanwhile, a dangerous criminal uses his newfound airbending abilities to escape.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So as mentioned previously, I really like how they brought the airbenders back, basically. I think it was a cool thing that they did, just to liven up the show. It's getting a little stale.
I think in the long run, I like it, but when I first watched it, I didn't like the idea of bringing the airbenders back.
Why not?
Which is weird because I like the idea of balancing things. Like, I don't have a good example of that, but like I want things that you would never think to happen, like bringing the airbenders back. I want that to happen. But when I did actually see it come to fruition, I was like, I'm not sure I really like this. But now watching it for a second time, these are good episodes.
They really are,
and I think they have their place in this series. So I like it now.
So this episode starts off with Korra having to deal with the overgrowth that is taking over Republic City, because apparently when she left the spirit world open, it let some vines out or something. I don't know exactly how that works.
They weren't real specific about that. Vines just started popping up all over Republic City, and we're kind of supposed to led to believe that that was the aftermath of her leaving the spirit portals open, which we didn't see any vines, exit or the portal, so we don't know what's going on. And there's spirits living in the place now, and they're mad about it. They're living in Republic City, and they're mad about it.
I think that the portals don't really matter anymore, because as we saw from the vines, they kind of just come out of the water or something. So I think that the spirit world and the regular world are merged. That's what it appears to me.
I don't know, but that one spirit who was in Republic City in the vines, that really frustrated.
The Sand Slash?
That really frustrated me. Yeah, sure. That really frustrated me because he's angry about living there. But if you already live in the spirits or the spirit world, why did you move? Like, why'd you leave your place to come live here and be unhappy? Why was that a thing?
I don't think that. I don't know.
Because if she opened them up, she didn't move them out. She just opened the doors.
But then why are the vines there, Harley?
I don't know. They didn't explain that very well.
No, and they don't really go into that, like, really all that much, because they focus on how the airbenders are coming back.
That's the key. That's the point of this season, really, is to focus on the airbenders. They don't really focus on the vines. I think the vines might have an overarching story line, but I don't think they play a pivotal role in this series. This season. The airbenders is what we're supposed to focus on.
I don't even think, because she ends up leaving Republic City, so it's not like she's too focused on the vines. But we do start this episode off, and we see that Boomy is he's the first one that is revealed to have newfound airbending powers, which at first you might think, oh, well, maybe he's just like releasing some dormant power that he had already.
But then we find out that there's other individuals across the Republic City even. Mako gets a phone call in the middle of the night, and Mako is sleeping underneath his desk in the office, the police station. So there's a little thing you should hold on, a little tidbit of information you should hold on to. And he gets a phone call in the middle of the night about his about one of the civilians having his brother attack him or some nonsense.
I think the guy's name is Dow
Is that his name?
or Daw, maybe
I don't think
something
it
like
matters. But he starts freaking out, and so then he locks himself in a closet, and Mako goes to that place, and he starts talking to the guy, and then he gets airbended, and then he goes and tells Lin Beifong. Lin Beifong reports to Tenzin, and they're like, "Oh, there's more airbenders," and they go on a quest to find more airbenders.
Well, hold on. You're skipping over a majority of this episode because that
matter.
doesn't really start until the next episode. So basically what they're doing is they don't know exactly what's happening with the airbenders in this episode, and that dog guy is trying to kill himself for some reason, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't want to hurt anybody
I guess
anymore.
that matters.
And then also Korra is battling with Raiko. Raiko's kind of, I don't know if he just doesn't like Korra or something, but he's constantly trying to manipulate her and manipulate the press against her. And like you said with the approval ratings, she cares about approval ratings for some reason.
Why does that matter all of a sudden?
She's not like an elected official where she's gonna like not get elected again.
Yeah,
She's just the avatar.
They kill her. They hang her.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't like you as the avatar. We murder you.
If your approval rating gets to 0, you die.
But I don't get that. We haven't cared about her approval rating for the two seasons. When she
Well, I
first
think
got
that
to Republic City, she'll I'll attack you. I don't care.
So the world was going to end, and I think that kind of took, that was in the forefront rather than like the politics. But I think now it's back to business as usual with a lot of vines everywhere. And at one point she tries to, like, she's not having any progress getting all these vines to go away. But then she accesses the avatar state and tries to use the spirit water thing. I don't even know.
I have a question. If she cannot talk to her previous self,
Well, see, that's what I was going to bring up.
how can she access the avatar state? How is the avatar state helpful to her?
I think that the avatar state is more than what we previously thought. I think she's communing with Vatu. Or not Vatu.
Rava.
Rava, yes. Because her eyes do glow white, just like they used to, but she says that her connection's been severed with all the other avatars.
So if that's the thing, then, if she can talk to Rava, and Rava's been in every single avatar, do you think she can just talk to Rava and get the memories of every single avatar?
I don't know. Apparently
So
not.
there would be no purpose to her to reconnect the that thing when she tries to meditate and whatnot and talk to other avatars.
Yeah, but then they couldn't use that later.
I don't get it. I guess it's a convenience issue. I guess they use it when they need to, and they don't really look at continuity errors.
No, not really. They don't care. But yeah, this episode not a lot of things happen. It's not as exciting as what we're used to because the last 4 episodes that we watched have been just constant, nonstop action, basically. And this one's more like back to season 1, kind of is how it felt to me. Not saying necessarily that's a bad thing. I think it's good to have some break from the action. But
well, Caleb, you're forgetting one crucial key part to this entire episode: the villains.
That's not until the very end, though, isn't it?
We get a little snippet. I think he breaks the first person out in this episode, and in the next episode he breaks out the second villain.
I don't think so. I think it's all in the next episode.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I usually am, but we get a new villain, of course, because it's a new season, and that's just how things roll. And his name is Zahir.
Yeah, So this is at the end of the first episode, and he's a super cool bad guy so far from what we've seen because he's like one of those the calm and collected bad guys who just like meditates, but then is just completely evil as well. Like he's got everything going for him, but he's just a bad guy.
I mean, yeah, that's the best way to put him, I guess. But so, along with all this harmonic convergence, the post-harmonic convergence nonsense, with all the airbenders coming to play, we see Zahir at the end of this episode, and the White Lotus have him in a holding cell, like a stone holding cell, and it's pretty neat. And they go to talk to him and whatnot, and they're your basic, hey, you're a bad guy, we're good guys, kind of, trope, where they're just like they're douches to him. And then he's like, well, I'm going to break free. And then he does, with airbending.
Yeah, because apparently this is not an isolated case to Republic City. This is happening all over the world.
And also,
to random people,
it's not biased at all.
No.
It's just like, let's give airbending to everyone.
It's just like, I wonder if it's like the spirit. I don't even know what would control this, but they're just like, oh, hey, there's a disproportionate amount of not airbenders. We're going to have to give you some more. We got to rectify this.
I don't know, but I like that. I like that our villain, who was once a formidable foe without bending.
Yeah, because he was a non-bender and still one of the most dangerous people on Earth.
Now has bending and he breaks free, and we get to see him. He whoops up on these 4 Lotus guards. I think they all have different sets of bending skills, and he beats them all.
So, do you think that he got airbending and has had it for a while? Because he looks like he's basically a master of it already.
Well, this is the question I had when I watched the second episode. Was he's very acrobatic, and so I wonder if in his past he was just naturally acrobatic to begin with, and he was just he honed those acrobatic skills, and then on top of that, airbending being a very acrobatic thing, a very acrobatic bending. I think he just combined the two. He just took what he knew, and since he's such so philosophically minded, he knows all these things about the different bendings and whatnot.
Yeah, because he was quoting like ancient airbender, like I don't know, like scribes or whatever
scripture.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he was saying that he talked about a guy who used airbending to like make himself weightless.
Guru Lagima.
Yeah, Lagima.
Is that his name?
Yeah, that's what I guess.
But it just he just how did he explain that? It was a really cool idea because he doesn't need airbending necessarily, and he just flies.
So yeah, he says that he asked them if they've ever heard of Guru Lagima, an air nomad who lived at the Northern Air Temple and unlocked the secret of weightlessness, allowing himself to become untethered from the earth and live the last 40 years of his life without touching the ground.
So this is why I think they gave Korra the glider. I think because we saw her in the last season flying through the fire on her feet, and we saw her flying with the airbending, and I think this is why they gave her the glider, to make it this huge ordeal, to give us this idea of just floating without seeing viewable bending, and I think he's going to come into play at the end of the season with this. Again, I don't remember a lot from Season 3. I don't remember anything from Season 4.
No.
But I do remember the very ending of Season 4, and that's what makes me mad. But so I think that'll come into play a lot later because he's an airbender now, and he mentions that quote. So I think that'd be really cool if that comes into play later on.
And yeah, you mentioned Korra's glider. Korra has a glider that looks eerily similar to one that we've seen before.
Almost exactly like it. The blue hue and everything, and the curved edges.
Yeah,
curved
I think
tips.
We're thinking that she just has Aang's glider that the Mechanist gifted to him with the what did he even have? It had the dispensary for like snacks or whatever.
I don't know how convenient that would be.
It wouldn't.
Like, you just miss your mouth every time.
It wouldn't be convenient at all.
I don't know.
I mean, that's the worst way to carry it. Just get like a Ziploc bag or something.
Like every other some trail mix in there, like every other normal human being.
Yeah, so did anything else happen in this episode? I feel like we didn't really talk about it, but I feel like not a lot actually went on. I mean, because we do get a lot of just setting up that Boomy has airbending now.
Setup, that's it.
And it's kind of like, oh, they don't believe Boomy at first, and then he finally does it when he's faced with imminent danger.
Which apparently is just Milo throwing a
plate at his face. Yeah. So that they kind of drag this one out, and I think it's necessary for them to set everything up. But
that's all it feels like, though.
It doesn't feel like much happened.
No, it just feels like setting up, which is not the way to do a movie. But for TV, I feel like it's fine because you're going to get an episode the next week. So why does it matter? Like if this was the pilot for this series, I would not buy it.
Are you sure?
No. If this was the pilot for the entire series, like if this was like the Avatar pilot,
no, I would. No, but okay. So
like this
are
series,
we talking that Avatar doesn't exist?
Yeah, the Avatar doesn't exist.
Well, then none of this would make sense.
I know, but if this was your pilot, I would not. If your pilot was this week, I would not buy it. Like it would just be.
I think that
but
we
since
have to go.
I think they're banking off of that though.
We have to go on the presupposition that Avatar does exist.
Yes.
So then I think that you could pick this up. I think this would get picked up because it's still a cool concept.
Well, we're also in the middle of a season, or in the middle of a series. Like we're not.
Yeah.
This isn't season 1. This is season 3. You're still going. Like they probably already bought in 4 seasons, and they're like, hey, listen, we're gonna go 4 seasons strong. Like if this was the first season of Korra. This would be a very, very bad beginning to season. To Korra.
Well, obviously they wouldn't make it like that though. If this was it would be just a completely different thing. But I still think it'd be a cool concept coming off the heels of Avatar. Obviously you would have to have some more exposition to set up the world that we're in right now. But it's still a cool concept that the Airbenders are getting their powers back.
I just really like strong introductions to seasons, and I didn't feel like this was a very strong introduction to a season.
I mean, I think it was good. It changed the game. Like, you thought that the Airbenders were genocided, which they were, and rightly so for you to think that. But, I mean, they're coming back now, baby. They're making a comeback.
All right. Well,
Let's do some trivia.
yeah.
Oh, great. There's no trivia. When Korra bows after purifying the spirit vines, her right fist is colored blue like her wristbands. When she turns to face the reporters, her fist is colored normally again.
Are you reading the goofs?
Well, I mean, there's the only piece of trivia is Korra's staff is almost identical in appearance to the Airbender staff Aang received
Which
from the
we
Mechanist.
covered. Take that, Wiki.
Here's some character revelations. Boomy is an Airbender,
What?
and Mako has been living at the police station.
Boo.
And okay, so I guess Mako's still like he's very awkward around Korra and Asami now
I guess we didn't touch on that drama at all, which is fine.
because it doesn't matter at all.
Is this the episode where she becomes friends with Asami now? Like
A little bit, I think that
they're playing into that?
I mean, I guess this is one where she just can't drive at all. Like she's just awful at it. Like we've actually seen her drive before to some success,
Yeah.
but now she just doesn't know how to do it at all.
Yeah. I don't get it. Anyways,
Yeah, great. This is great.
this is good. This is good.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take a break and come back here in just a second. And we're back. The next episode, which hopefully will be a little bit more exciting, and it definitely is because we get a little bit more of the politics or whatever, like because Korra has control of the police or something now because Mako's doing her like jobs for her or something.
I don't think she has control. I just think she has influence.
I don't know. Why don't you give us a little bit of the overview and then we'll dissect it a little bit more.
This episode is called Rebirth, and it's the second episode in the third season. Season 3, Book 3, Change. All right, Tenzin, Jinora, and Team Avatar travel toward Ba Sing Se in an attempt to find new airbenders. They stop at various villages along the way, hoping to convince them to join the new Air Nation. Their efforts are met with little success, however, as they are able to convince only one person, a young boy named Kai, to join them. Meanwhile, Zahir travels the world, first freeing Gazan and then Ming Hua from their prisons, before the three set course for the Northern Water Tribe to liberate the last member of their group, Pili. It's P''Li. Upon learning of their escape, Lord Zuko sets a course for the Northern Water Tribe himself, intending to stop them on his dragon, which is awesome.
Is that what it says? Or are you adding?
Nope.
That?
I'm just looking at the dragon picture, and I know there's a dragon involved.
Please just read what it says and don't ad lib any. I just want just a straight reading of it.
It's too late.
Okay, take it from the top, please.
Okay. No.
Okay, I'll just put it in post. I'll just cut out whatever you said. Okay, so yeah, this episode is when they set off. The new Team Avatar is going on an exodus, just like the old Team Avatar, I guess, now. Except for they got a giant blimp and a lot of Asami's money, and then there's Tenzin and Jinora.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters going on with him. Does Mako end up going with it? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, Mako does. Because that's when
he plays a pivotal role in this episode.
He shows up to bring a map to Korra about like all the different spottings, I guess, or like reports of airbenders over the world. I don't know how they exactly got that information, but
I don't know why people just like call up Republic City and be like, "Oh, I'm an airbender now." Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, they're
that
just like, is that the Republic City's just the
Is everyone else talking about this? Because I want to tell you that I'm an airbender.
But this is when Korra said, or Mako says something. He's like, he said that he's doing official police work on request of the Avatar. So does she have any influence with the police? Or like the government or anything? Is the Avatar an official position?
I think she has a bit of influence. I think because she's friends with Lin Beifong. And she's friends with Mako. I think she's got friends in the police force, and she can call an influence.
But the way Mako was selling it, it was like that he wasn't doing this. Yeah, he wasn't doing this as a friend. This was his job, and he was just following his orders or whatever.
I don't know.
And I just with the Korra's approval rating and everything, is the Avatar technically an official Republic City official? I don't know.
If I was the Avatar, I would just be super lazy. Like, I would just go on I would make my own island somewhere.
Well, there's a guy that makes a point in this episode.
And just hang out.
Yeah, so they take off. So who all do we have with us? We got Asami, Bolin.
We got the core four.
Yeah, Mako. Or, yeah.
Mako,
Asami,
Bolin,
Colin, Mako. We're
the
just
Avatar.
saying, okay, hold on. We got Korra, Asami, Bolin, Mako, Jinora, Tenzin.
And Boomy.
Oh, yes, because Boomy's going along with them. Which I feel like why'd they have to take all the airbenders?
I think they just wanted to.
I feel like Tenzin wouldn't need to go because he's actually part of the problem with them not getting more airbenders.
But later on in this episode, he rips off his shirt, and we turned out he's jacked. So we needed that.
He totally is. They put on a show.
But they leave behind Milo and Ikki, and immediately, as soon as they find out they're being left behind, they scream, "Why are we being left behind?" And Jinora gets to go. And to that, I respond,
because you
because
suck.
we hate you.
Yes, because you're awful.
And you're annoying. But Kaya says, because you're useful, and you need to stay back in case any other... I guess that would make sense.
I don't like Kaya.
So this is where I'm going with this. I think this would make sense. If you are an airbender, and the only known airbenders live in Republic City, on the Air Temple Island, you might call Republic City and be like, listen, I'm one of you guys now. You guys want to talk about this?
I guess.
Reach out, make connections, Hey, you're not the only one.
It might not be them actually reaching out. It might be people, like, reporting them. I
Like
don't
a
know.
crime.
I guess.
There's some douchebag over here just bending things. I don't like it.
I mean, that is weird, though.
They're just biased towards airbenders.
If you saw somebody, like, bending air, you'd probably report them, because they're up to no good, definitely.
Obviously, yeah. Historically speaking, Avatar or airbenders are up to no good.
Yes. So they take off in Asami's giant blimp, and they're heading to Ba Sing Se, I guess. I thought that they'd already went to Ba Sing Se and they just glossed over it.
No.
But it sounds like they're on their way there and they're just stopping. Because I was really mad because I thought they just weren't going to stop in Ba Sing Se, and I want to see what Ba Sing Se looks like now.
No, because I remember there's one thing I do remember about this season, and it's the Earth Queen, and she's kind of a dick. But yeah. So
Let's not get into that yet.
That episode's really good. But anyways,
I don't remember anything about
continue.
Yeah, so they're just stopping at different towns, trying to get airbenders, and they go to like 6 or 7 places, and every time Tenzin's just saying the exact wrong thing to make the newfound airbenders not want to come with him.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have practiced like what your speech is going to be? Because he uses a different speech every single time. He's like, your son's going to get tattoos like me, or we're going to shave your head bald, or you can wear these dope robes.
Or you want to be a vegetarian. But the thing is, he uses the wrong arguments for, like, when he makes the vegetarian argument, it's a guy eating like a turkey, like a leg or whatever. Like, just don't say that. Like, come up with a different scheme to get them to go with you, just not the opposite of what their character personality is. Like, there's a woman in, like, really fine, like, fancy robes, and he's like, you'll love our ancient clothes. Like, just say anything else. Literally anything else.
Literally anything.
I thought he was going to get the guy with the flying bison is going to be your best friend. Because that would have sold me.
That would have been super cool.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, he just slams a door in his face. So we get a little montage of that, and that's kind of crap. But, yeah, I would just make an actual foolproof speech. You would get a majority of them instead of just a different speech for every single person.
Yeah. So this entire time, Korra has been kind of fighting back against Tenzin because she doesn't think that his approach is the best way to get people to come.
Because it's not.
No, but she wants to do it by force, which is also probably not the best. So she goes and finds a guy, a kid that's is got his whole life ahead of him.
Napoleon Dynamite,
yes.
Airbender.
John Heater, voice of John Heater, with exactly the character you think John Heater would play.
Well, the entire time I was watching it, I was like, this feels like Napoleon Dynamite. But
because it's a 22-year-old guy who lives with his parents. What a loser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy, he's just constantly talking back to Korra, and I think trying kind of getting into her head because she's like, "You have a duty to do this."
No, I don't.
She's like, "No, but I'm the Avatar, and I had a duty."
No, you don't.
But I have to do this, or the world would be in chaos.
No, you don't.
And I feel like they should have played that a little bit more and made her be like, "You know what? I really don't have to do any of this. It's 8% approval. Why would I do this? I don't."
They call back the approval rating.
Yeah, I don't. I would just be
for
like
8% of Republic City. No, I'm out.
I would just be like, I can do whatever I want. I literally don't have to do this. But she has a moral compass and a sense of decency.
I would take my earthbending ability and I would create a home in the ocean somewhere at the bottom of the ocean. That way nobody can get to me because there's water above me and then earth and then me.
That seems like a terrible existence.
And I would figure out some way, like in The Martian, to put vegetables in the bottom of the ocean where I'm at to eat. That's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do.
That's a terrible... No.
And I would only come out every, 2 months.
They need sunlight.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, yeah.
Just create a hole.
It's just a hole.
Just a tunnel.
Funneling. Yeah, I guess you get meters or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
That's too much work at this point.
You think they use sandbending to turn things into glass?
I don't know how that works. Sandbenders and firebenders? Probably.
Because obviously they have mirrors and obviously they have glass. That'd be cool.
I mean, I guess.
They just use bending for literally everything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I still like that a lot. Anyway.
Except for the times when they use combustion engines when they don't need to.
Callbacks to our own show. All
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so then Korra doesn't have any luck. She tries taking that guy by force. Does she eventually get the guy?
No.
Why
she
not?
tries to actually pull him out of the
and he
house,
airbends.
And he airbends through his clothes, and then Mako and Bolin drag Korra out of there.
Yeah, and then Bolin has an idea of what's the best way to get people, and being the showman that he is, decided to put on a little bit of an act.
The greatest showman.
I have a question.
Take that, Hugh Jackman.
Why doesn't Bolin just grow a mustache? Because every time he goes into like that showman character, he's always putting on a fake mustache.
But you think is he still doing Nuktuk things? You think he'd have to shave it for Nuktuk?
I don't know. He's definitely, because Varric's in prison.
You're right, he is.
I don't know, Varric escaped, but he's still technically an outlaw.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Right.
Wait,
okay.
Are they going to bring Varric back?
I would assume so.
What would you do with Varric? Like, what is he capable of doing right now? Do you think
I don't know.
You still think he has assets?
Well, Asami got her company back because she's talking about how they needed the new Future Industries blimp.
True.
So I don't know what they did with Varric.
Do you think people would still buy Future Industries things after that whole
Oh yeah, definitely
falling out with their dad?
Of course. If the CEO of Apple turned out to be like he murdered a couple people, do you think people would stop buying Apple products?
People?
I don't know. I mean, that's equivocal, I think.
I don't know, but yeah, maybe.
If
I guess
the CEO of Apple killed 2 people, you don't think people would still buy Apple products?
Well, 2 is a bit small of a number.
Okay, 5 people.
Let's equate it to something better than that. If he were to back a terrorist group, knowingly back a terrorist group, and consult with said terrorist group, and that terrorist group killed people, which I think is the equivalent of taking their bending away.
Okay, but when you talk about terrorist group, there's a little bit of difference between Islamic terror and then what Amon was doing in the Equalists. So he's basically saying
he was promoting an agenda through fear. I think that's called terrorist.
No, I know it's technically terror, but there is a difference. I think that it's more akin to like a communist terrorist group grown in America, rather than what you think of with the definition of terrorist.
Okay, so aside from all semantics, if Steve Jobs, rest in peace, way back when, if he were to back
Antifa,
sure, yeah, well. Yeah.
See, that's about the same thing.
Why not? Let's do that.
I don't think that anybody would stop buying Apple products for that.
I guess that's fair. Nobody moved to impeach Trump when they're like, "Oh, he totally has been backed by the KKK."
No.
Like,
So I don't think that it's even. I don't even think it'd be a problem. So I guess Asami can just get her company.
That's fine.
I mean, the guy's gone anyway. He's in jail.
That's true.
They got good. They got a good PR.
He has been. They do a really good job on their show where the villains in the family are the villains, and then they just promote with Korra's uncle. They're like, listen, my uncle was a bad dude, but my dad's
a good guy.
And then Asami, my dad's a bad dude, but me, I want to see that keep going. let's keep that going.
So then Bolin sets up this show where they're basically just talking up the airbenders. Bolin's basically being like a hype man for all these for Tenzin and them. And they're just doing their airbender stuff.
Can we talk about for a second how into it Tenzin gets?
He's really,
Dude starts out, he's not even looking, he's completely ignoring the audience, looking away from him. And then he says, Tenzin! And the dude, he just rips off
comes out in that, the air cycle or whatever.
Rips off his robes and comes onto the air cycle. He's down to his pants. And that's so funny to me, because, first of all, he's jacked. And second of all, he's super into it. Doesn't say a word. He just rolls with it. He's like, "Dude, we need these airbenders."
Yeah, he knows how important this is. And then we also find out that Mako is an excellent actor. He's great.
Yeah,
he really just inhabits the role.
He's born for it.
Yeah, Mako just walks. They're like, oh, there's a fire-bending outlaw that's on the run. He's got a red scarf. Mako's like, yeah.
Mako's the only one
me.
in the crowd dressed differently.
Yeah, because they're all
dressed
green.
in earth
It's the earth stuff.
I love it.
Which is weird because you think that they would figure out, hey, we don't all have to dress in this green.
Do you think that's just a product of where they're at? Like they make their clothes based off of what they have available?
Probably not.
Like that's not, or do they?
Because everything's green. You wouldn't think that. You'd think that they would have a little bit more options than that.
Well, I'm not sure how they make their clothes. Like if they just make their clothes and like that's the only dye they have around is like green and like yellow dye.
I would assume not.
And so in Republic City, where everything comes together, where there's actual businesses and stuff like that, where that's why everybody dresses differently. So,
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, kind of, but I feel like that they could get other stuff if that's the case. And you think that the error...
Maybe it's just not their priorities.
Maybe, I guess not, but that seems a little dumb to me. Why even go to the trouble to make everything green? Just leave it its original
Why go to the
color?
trouble of wearing clothes if that's what's going to come down to?
I mean, if you want to say that, that's fine too. That makes just about as much sense. So then they end up finding an airbender at this rally or whatever. Little boy named Kai, who has a pretty tragic backstory.
Yeah, he's an orphan, and his parents were taken from him by a group of outlaws
About a year ago.
So he's on the run from these outlaws. It's a small group of outlaws, but they're terrible, and they're bending outlaws. They can earthbend, and they can take Kai away from all of this good stuff he has, like this bag that he has that he carries around with him.
Yeah,
which
and the homelessness
has all of his livelihood in it. He has all of his livelihood that he's earned through hard work and dedication in that bag. It's actually gold.
Yeah, he stole
he's a
it.
thief. Yeah, that's what it is.
He's a no good liar.
And these outlaws are actually the sheriff and his deputies.
And Cora just falls
Cora
for this
Cora
story
believes
right
this
away.
little kid.
You can see the badge on the sheriffs.
They're well dressed. They're all in uniform, and she just starts attacking them. That's not a way to go about that.
No, you're the Avatar. Have a little bit of class, Cora. And then they do something where they're going to take Kai off to jail because Mako ends up catching him with a bag full of gold, and that's a lot of gold. That kid's got to be really strong to haul that around.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't. I don't know if he. I don't know if he uses airbending.
No, because he didn't have airbending before this. He just got it.
I don't know.
But apparently he hasn't been an orphan for just a year. He's been an orphan for his entire life, which is better, I guess.
But he was taken in by a very nice family, according to the sheriff, about 6 months ago, and then he
robbed them blind.
To repay them. He robs them blind, yes, and abandons them
with nothing. So then the police do the thing where the police do not do. They take the gold back and just let Kai go just leave.
Well, they're going to take him. I see what you're saying, but they're going to take him to jail. And then Tenzin's like, "Don't do that. Give him to us."
Well, Tenzin still does not want him. And they sort of
well, that's what seals the deal. Was Tenzin signs off on it?
Yeah, they sort of have to bring Tenzin around, which I think I agree with him.
Because the dude's a liar and a thief. Also, you have a daughter his age, and you don't want to deal with that.
No,
because kids and their hormones. Let me tell you.
I mean, they're 11,
but they won't be for long.
I mean, just as long as it takes to age, but
as long as 11 lasts. I guess.
Yeah. So they decide to take Kai on, I guess, and Mako's kind of like, "I'm watching you." Because I know where you're at, because I've been there too. And if you try to do anything, I'll kill you. I'll slit your throat.
That's exactly what he says, actually. It was a good scene. It's a heartbreaking scene. But while all this is going on, we have our villains doing things. And yes, I say villains, because Zahir is out there breaking out.
His old pals. He's getting the gang back together.
He's getting the band back together.
The gang.
And that's super awesome, because they all have unique abilities.
Okay, so what's the first guy? What's his name that he breaks out?
Gazam?
Gazan. And they have these really cool prison locations where they're basically the antithesis to their bending. So since Gazan is a earthbender, He's on a wooden like ship out in the middle of the ocean.
which is amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Everything's wooden, but you see Gazan, he's still like just doing pull-ups and stuff like that at the very beginning. So he's still like in shape and into it. Like he's
Well,
like,
'cause he
I'm
knows
probably gonna get out of here one day.
He knows Zahir's coming for him
yeah,
because he's getting the band back together.
And so Zahir does come for him, and he breaks him out and just throws in 3 little rocks for him.
Yeah, that's the cool part.
And this is when we get introduced to lava bending. He takes the rocks, whatever, takes the rocks and he bends them into this like this little star shape, like this very large star shape, and he cuts out the wooden prison, the wooden gate cell thing, that thing we're trying to say. Oh my lord! And then he kills the guards right outside, and then they escape and they go to retrieve the third party member.
So, do you think that he's a metal bender as well? Because I would think that you would want to put him in a metal cell, unless he is a metal bender.
I'm not sure. I get the wooden thing. I do.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
Because you can't bend wood.
so does if you're a lava bender, and we'll probably talk about this later, can you bend metal as well? Like, is that a prerequisite?
I don't know. I think that's a separate subbending.
But then how do only some people become lava benders though? Is what I don't get.
Maybe
I get metal because
it's
it's
a
like
DNA thing.
It's like a different substance, but lava's basically just hot earth.
I think it would just be like a skill set. Like some people are more predetermined to be good at welding as opposed to me, who is not good at anything. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but this is something you're born with. This is like bending is innate. So I don't know how just making the earth more hot would make it less earth.
Also,
Does that make sense?
I don't know how you do that. Would you have to have like a firebending relative in your or firebending
I don't
genetics?
know. Yeah,
Because you just said making the earth hot, which is what would happen. You're turning it into lava.
yeah, and he's not just bending lava; he creates lava out of the earth.
So maybe you have to have some kind of firebending DNA inside you too.
That would be pretty cool if that was the next evolution of the bending. Was like sub bendings that kind of merged together with your family history, so you could have like a whatever water and like a steam bender, I guess.
Yeah, I was about to say
Well,
water and
fire,
fire.
or like earth and air. Dust bender. I guess there's already
Mud.
like
They just bend mud. That's
but
already
that's
a thing.
water
Though.
and yeah,
It's already a thing though.
we already saw him do that.
I don't know, man. I don't.
They'd
They'd have to be some pretty cool combinations though, because fire and rock creates lava. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, we saw in Avatar where Korra and Toph were kind of bending the sludge together.
Katara and Toph.
Yeah, Katara and Toph. There's two similar. But Katara and Toph were bending the sludge in the drill, and I think that they both had to do it since it was a mixture of water and earth. So
I think they both had the ability to do it, and I think they needed.
It was
someone,
probably easier for them.
probably there was such a large amount.
But-
So like there's kind of blurred lines in that scenario. Then once you mix water with dirt, you have mud. So Katara can bend it and Toph can bend it.
But it's probably more difficult. So maybe
Because we've seen Katara bend just mud off of her.
maybe the offspring of a waterbender and an earthbender would have a much easier time of bending mud. Maybe. We'll probably never know. Okay, so
Scientists, get on this. What else are you doing? Curing cancer? No, you're not.
just give them some time. They'll come up with it. Okay, so they do let Kai into Team Avatar.
Mistake.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like this
colossal
kid.
mistake.
I don't like this kid already.
But I think that's it. I think that they're heading off to Bossing Say now.
But also, we get to see Gazan and Zahir break out the third party member.
Oh, yeah. Is it Plee?
Minghua.
Minghua?
And this...
Oh,
this is
she's
another
the
cool
waterbender.
Yeah, this is another cool prison cell. It's buried inside the earth, and there's molten lava everywhere, and all the guards are firebenders or earthbenders.
So it's kind of, and it's like in a volcano, and so there's lava all around, which is a terrible when Gazan shows up because he can lava bend everything.
So here's a question. Absolutely, yeah. Here's a question though. So when you get hot, you sweat, and they don't want to kill her. They want her just to be a prisoner. So they would have to replenish that sweat so she wouldn't die. Because once you stop sweating, once your body just runs out of hydration, you die.
Yeah.
So they would want to keep her hydrated. So how do they keep her hydrated without her bending things?
It might evaporate too quickly, and then they just I don't know. I don't know exactly how that works.
Anyways, so they have. It's a stupid cool prison though.
One
It's
thing
super awesome.
It's basically just kind of an upgraded version of the prison where the Bloodbender was kept
Mm-hmm.
in Avatar. They just kind of took it to the next level. Because one thing that's really cool about all these prisons that we've seen so far is it's one-person prison. All of these they only have one holding cell.
And that goes to show how strong and dangerous these individuals are. Like, that's what you do it's a maximum security prison, like, for one individual.
And that's another problem I had, because they brought it up that they change the guard every 3 weeks in these maximum security prisons. Just change the guard more often, and then you won't have stuff like this happen. I feel like.
You would still have it happen, but they would know about it sooner.
Yeah, and you could, like, because they, when they break out, what's his name? Zahir. He throws them all back into the prison, and then they have to wait 3 weeks for the next rotation to show up?
I think they can get out, because some of those guys were earthbenders, and they could just...
So then what were they doing? Because they weren't knocked unconscious. They were just laying there not doing anything.
Yeah, they weren't doing anything.
They could just earthbend.
They could.
And I don't know why... So with Zahir, why don't they just earthbend him completely, all around his body, except for his head, so they can, like, feed him and stuff? And then you don't have this problem. He can't airbend. He can't move.
I think at the time, yeah, that would be a good strategy before he broke out, because at the time that he wasn't an airbender. But I do see what you're saying in the fight. If they were to be like, let's just in case, because I always go to that too. Like, as we're watching the fights unfold, we're watching it from a perspective of I
don't know exactly what you're trying to say.
Like somebody who watches like a show, like in the
audience
stadium. Yeah, an audience perspective. Thank you. I'm terrible at this, man. I feel awful today. At an audience perspective, so we can see things in a critical analysis, but they are seeing it from their own eyes, and they're in the quote unquote firefight. So maybe they're seeing things differently, and they're reacting to things differently because they're in a different scenario. We have a different perspective on things.
I guess.
We have
I just feel like
perspective on things.
I guess that so breaking the other ones out, I feel like they should have had a little bit more trouble. I can understand why they wouldn't have a contingency in place that Zahir just gains air bending powers. I can understand how that would throw him off guard, but you'd think that once they found Zahir broke out, then they would bolster security a little bit, or there would be some line of communication with the White Lotus. It's like, hey, Zahir's gone. You better bring some backup in.
Well, here's another thing too. Was that an earth floor that he was sitting on in his prison cell? Because it was earth. It was earth outside.
I think it was stone. So yeah.
So they would just have to dig a tunnel with their earth underneath the gate.
That's
and
true.
Get out, and then just go warn everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Did they show an earthbender though? Because I know it was only firebenders at the lava prison.
I think there was firebenders, and I think I saw one earthbender.
Okay,
but there were definitely earthbenders who came for Zahir. But anyway, so we get a new character named Menghua. Sorry,
she's really cool,
and she's really cool. She has no arms.
I mean, technically,
but she's a waterbender, so she constantly has water,
the octopus arms,
in place of her arms.
She does the Groot thing where she like extends her arms out and then bashes people off the side
and stabs everyone in their gut and then beats them off the wall. Yeah, it's really cool.
That was pretty gruesome when Groot did that, and that they played it for laughs, but he just impaled all those guys.
Yeah, he just turns around and goes, and he smiles.
He's a sociopath.
And everybody I know that has seen that movie laughs at that part.
Yeah, no, he's a sociopath.
Are we becoming too desensitized to this stuff?
Yes, definitely.
Tune in next week on our other podcast.
We break
down
film
all the time. Yep, great.
Anything else happen in this episode of note?
Zuko's in this episode.
Oh yeah, we get to see Zuko for just a little bit when he learns that Zahir's broken out two of the other guys. I don't know why they didn't notify him a little bit before that. But so after three of them are broken out, they still got one more to go. He says that one of these persons on their own is enough to bring down an entire city. And then four of them together would be enough to bring down the entire world. Which, why haven't we heard about these guys until now?
I think, obviously, they're older people. If you look at them, they're older. I think they're older than Amon. I think they're older than Tenzin. Or not Tenzin.
Are they older than
Tarlok.
Aang, though?
I don't think they're older than Aang. I think
they're definitely not.
I think Aang is the one that put him in there.
Oh, you think so?
I think
that
Aang is the one
sense.
that took care of him.
I would want to see that. That would be really cool.
So who was the guy at for some reason I always mistake these two, or when I first watched this show. The guy who Aang put in prison, who was Tarlok's or
Amon's dad?
Amon's dad.
What do you mean, who was the guy?
Who was that? What was his name?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
He took his bending away.
Yeah. I don't remember his name.
But anyways, I always mistake him with Zahir. I don't know why.
Well, that's ridiculous.
I think their names are similar of some sort. But obviously, they're not the same guy.
I think Zahir's cooler.
Zahir is so much cooler.
He's just, yeah.
Are we going to be rooting for Zahir this season?
Oh, I already am.
Because he's super awesome. And his character design to me felt a lot more detailed than most other characters.
So far, their characters are better than all the Team Avatar. Like, the little development they had, I already care more about them than anyone else.
I dig it. And we haven't even set, because when they break out Minghua, she says to Zahir, she goes, "I'm surprised you broke me out before your girlfriend." So there is at least one more member to Team Zahir.
Team Zahir? Is that what we're calling them?
I'll come up with something by next week.
So then they've got a Earthbender.
Mm-hmm.
They have an Airbender now, technically.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Waterbender.
So would the next one be a Firebender or something?
I would assume.
Let's find out next week.
But before we do that, we're going to get into just a little bit of trivia. Still not that much with Avatar, or with Korra. But there is one cool one. We'll get to that last. I'm gonna just tease it a little bit up front. As Team Avatar's position was shown on the map as they traveled throughout the Earth Kingdom, their heads were in their chibi forms.
Which you never watched on the Avatar, the Blu-ray, or not the Blu-ray edition, the Avatar DVDs. They had those little chibi shorts.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's why it's a trivia piece.
Well, I think chibi is I think it's like a term in anime.
Yeah, but I don't think it wouldn't be a notable piece of trivia at all because there's only 2 pieces of trivia on here. So I don't think that would be a noticeable piece of trivia at all if they wouldn't have done the chibi forms, the chibi shorts.
Do they have chibi shorts for Korra?
I don't know. I don't know they do for Avatar.
The world may never know. But here's the one. Gazan's lava weapon is a tribute to the glaive, the signature weapon from the 1983 science fiction film Kroll, currently resting at a cool 33% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's not very high.
No, it's not. But I'm excited to watch it, and I think that we might, next week, in lieu of another Korra episode, just watch Kroll.
We might. It has Liam Neeson in it.
It does have Liam Neeson.
And we're known to watch movies with low Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
About the lowest you could possibly get.
I.e. BVS and Justice League.
Oh.
Is it IE? Or is it the E?
IE. Yeah, IE. Like an example? Yeah. I don't know exactly why.
I don't know either.
But that's not... Let's get into our vocabulary podcast. Okay, I think that just about wraps it up for us. You got anything? Harley, let's go into Harley's Corner for a second. You got anything you wanna say?
No, not this week, no.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that with @boysintheberg, or you can send us an email with boysintheiceberg@gmail.com. As always, I've been Caleb Bainer.
And I'm Harley Davis.
And we are the Boys in the Iceberg, and we will see you here next week.